It was a long flight home from Buffalo after the Seahawks suffered just their second loss of the season. What's going on? Jackie Montgomery with your Seahawks Daily. After watching the film, Pete Carroll met with the media to break down what he saw in the team's 44-34 loss to the Buffalo Bills.
We have been through the film extensively to see what happened and what took place, and we came out just not executing. Some really basic stuff that we needed to do. These guys game planned well. Things that we practiced, we didn't execute in the game, and so we're real disappointed in that because generally that isn't the case. We just missed some stuff, and they took advantage of it, and it was a lousy trip, and we got to get back to business, and so we've reset, our focus here. Obviously, getting back in the Northwest is good, and we got to get cranked up for a trip down to LA, a big matchup with the Rams.
Looking at the defense, the 44 points given up on Sunday were the most ever in the Pete Carroll era. One glimmer of hope was the 7 sacks the team recorded. Overall, looking back at the past 8 weeks, the defense needs to play better.
We started out the season really being aggressive and getting after it, and in the last couple of weeks, we've turned our focus back to that somewhat in an attempt to get some heat on the quarterback, and we have. We've had a lot of sacks the last couple of weeks, and we're moving in the right direction in terms of that. We got to make sure we're complementing it with our play on the other, on the back end. We continue to give up stuff that we don't need to give up. There's just too many plays that have gotten away from us. And with the pressure that's coming, and the guys that are bringing the pressure, that's a strength of ours. We need to play off of that.
Defensive end Carlos Dunlap had his first practice with the Seahawks this past Wednesday and then suited up for his first start just 4 days later. An impressive turnaround that resulted in a sack, 2 quarterback hits, 5 tackles, including 3 tackles for loss.
Good solid game. He did a lot in a short amount of time just to get out there and play the whole game. He showed what he's always showed, the power that he has. He overwhelmed the tackle one time, had a clean sack, that was what he's been famous for, and it was great to see that. He added a couple other tackles in the backfield and did some really nice things. So I think it's a really positive move for us. We're fortunate to have him, and he was really a good dude, and it was fun to play with him.
Sunday marked safety Jamal Adams' first game since suffering a groin injury back in Week 3. Despite that, he was one of just 2 players to play 100% of the defensive snaps. He finished the day with 1.5 sacks, 3 quarterback hits, 5 tackles, including 2 for losses.
Jamal played really hard. He was really aggressive. He had a couple plays that got away from him that he would like to play better, but he was a factor, as he's going to be. He's really aggressive. Really tough. I thought it was the playing 4 quarters was a challenge for him, but he was a stud about it and got through it. He hadn't played in a month. He'll be better that way as we go in the next couple of weeks. He's really a factor, and just got to keep putting him in the right spots and cutting him loose.
Cornerback Trey Flowers made his second straight start for Shaquille Griffin, who is still sidelined. Flowers finished tied for the team high with 6 tackles. That said, with so many injuries to the Seahawks secondary, there has not been much continuity, and communication has been an issue.
There's a level of confidence that comes from the communication and the regularity of the communication. It's not just verbal communication, it's nonverbal. It's a feel for one another, and so we have just not had that continuity. We've not had the good fortune of that. So I'm hoping that as we keep going here, as we get a chance to finish in the stretch, that we'll keep our guys out there together and we can make some progress. I thought Trey Flowers played the best game he's played in a long time, maybe his best game ever in terms of technique and consistency. Quandre's done a great job back there for us in the middle, controlling things, but he's communicating really in game time situations. I guess it's like the 3rd time with Jamal, and Jamal's a very high-spirited, highly communicative guy, and so they have to work together under the stressors of the game, and so they're learning. And hopefully when Shaq gets back and we get those 4 guys out there together, and whether it's Quentin or not, we'll see how it goes, but we can get better.
Defensive tackle Brian Molyneux suffered a high ankle sprain in the game. As a result, we could finally see Snacks Harrison this week against the Rams.
Well, he's available. He's ready to go. And the way it looks, we got to have some more information on Brian's situation so we can take care of him. But this is where Snacks would jump up right now. And this is what he's been looking for and preparing for.
At 6-2, the Seahawks are now at the halfway point of the season. Despite the uncharacteristic loss to the Bills, Seattle still sits in first place in the NFC West and tied for the top spot in the NFC. Also keep in mind that they did score 34 points. They've scored 30 or more points in 7 of the 8 games played so far.
If you'd asked me in the start of the season, how would you feel, where you want to be at the halfway point? I'd say I want to be undefeated. But the next thing I would have said is we'd like to be in first place in our division, because that's where all of our focus lies. And that you finish out the season and you have a chance to play at home in the playoffs, and so that's the best way to control that. But the fact that we're there doesn't mean anything, because it's what we're going to do about it now. And so that's what our focus goes immediately to, as it always does, to the very next step that we take, and that's this big game coming up against the Rams. And it feels like all of these games, it's championship run time, and that's just what this is. And so we have to see if we can respond 1 week at a time and find the plan and find the preparation and the great mentality it takes to go ahead and play another good football game and see if we can get it done.
Well, Coach Carroll did give an update with the running backs. He said Chris Carson and Carlos Hyde will both work this week with the hopes of playing this Sunday against the Rams, adding that it's encouraging. The players will have Tuesday off, then will return to the practice field on Wednesday as they turn their focus to the LA Rams, who they play in Southern California on Sunday.